Hi there folks, this is Infected One, and I have taken upon myself to make a tutorial series for Stalker Gamma, with the hope of making it less overwhelming and more accessible to the Stalker enthusiasts. Each episode is going to be focused on a specific subject because of the sheer amount of detail and information. And now before we start this episode, please leave a like and subscribe to this channel for more awesome content. Hello my fellow stalkers, and welcome to another episode of the Stalker Gamma Noob Guide. On this episode we are going over the health system and consumables, explaining how health and healing works, understanding consumables and their effects, as well as explaining how cooking works and its benefits. So without further ado, let's start the guide. So starting with the health system, this is your Stalker's status HUD. The middle part is overall health. You can also see the exact value in your inventory. Once it reaches 0, you are dead. The lower your overall health is, the more severe effects you're going to have, ranging from blurry vision, stamina decrease, and some nasty moans. To heal your overall health, use any item that has this symbol. It's a red heart with a cross inside, like medkits and stim packs. The effectiveness of each item in healing your overall health is determined by the health restoration value it has. If you are low on funds and just don't have the money or the facilities to get any health items from your local medic, you can just stand next to a campfire which will slowly regenerate your overall health. It does take a lot of time though. These white lines are not cocaine, it's your limbs' health bars. H is head, T is torso, LA is left arm, RA is right arm, LL is left leg, and RL is a right leg. Damage to different kinds of limbs affects your Stalker differently. Limb health is not connected to your overall health at all. You can be 100% health but with a limb damaged. Damaged legs can cause you to move slower, make you limp, and reduce overall health when running, depending on the damage taken. Arm damage causes more weapon sway when aiming. Torso damage reduces stamina, and head damage causes blurry vision and dizziness. A very important note, if your head or torso reaches 0, you will die, no matter how much health you got in your overall health pool. So keep that in mind. Your limbs, unlike overall health, are healed in 2 steps, first aid and post heal. First aid is shown as orange dots per limb in the description of the item, and is only a temporary fix that fades away over time, enabling you to keep fighting or to run away. And post heal items have this symbol, a white heart, and shows white dots per limb in description. Post heal permanently heals your limbs and only has effect if the limb has been priorly first aided. Using post heals without first aid has no healing effect on the limbs whatsoever. The amount of dots, white or orange, show the effectiveness of the post heal or first aid per limb. Also, hovering above first aid items and post heal items in your inventory shows how much are they gonna heal your limbs. For example, we can see that a diclofenac sodium won't first aid your leg all the way, as opposed to the bandage that does. Unlike your overall health, limbs do not regenerate next to a campfire, but they do regenerate when you sleep. So again, if you're low on funds and don't have any post heals, you can just take some sleeping pills or wait until you're sleepy and just hit the sack and you'll come up with fresh new limbs somehow. Now as you can see, a military grade and a scientific grade stim pack can also do a first aid and a post heal, although the post heals of the stim packs are not as effective. This bar, which disappears when I open my inventory, is your psychological health bar. This health bar will decrease due to various environmental effects and mutants within the zone. A common example is the anomaly called Psy Health. If your Stalker enters this anomaly, you will start hearing your heart pulsating and you'll see your Psy meter being drained. Enemies like a controller do Psy damage with their attacks, and also with their presence. Sometimes you will see ghosts and phantoms running in your direction. These also damage your psychological health. Once your psychological health reaches 0, you are good as dead, so be very careful with it. Being low on psychological health will make the game feel like you're in a nightmare. You will hear voices, your character will be scared shitless all the time, and you will be wondering who shat your pants and why did it do it. The only way to raise your psychological health is just waiting. It goes up over time. Now the last 2 bars down below in the HUD are the radiation meter and your stamina bar. Being exposed to radiation shows you this symbol in the status effects. The more radiation you take, the more damage over time you will receive, accompanied by blurry vision and stamina loss. Consumables with this red symbol remove radiation from the player. These items are usually alcohol, cigarettes, and anti-radiation drugs. Although all drinks in the game like water and energy drink remove radiation, they do so less effectively than the ones with the red symbol. The next three parameters we're going to talk about are hunger, thirst, and energy. These parameters drain over time and are affected by the consumables you use. Foods and alcohol make you more thirsty and sleepy, while health consumables vary in effects. Some don't lower the parameters at all, some lower only one, and some lower all three. Being thirsty, hungry, or sleepy will have negative effects depending on their severity, ranging from stamina loss and blurry vision to health loss over time. Do note that your character cannot sleep unless it has the sleepiness status effect. You can always force sleep by taking sleeping pills. Okay, now let's go deeper into the consumable details, starting with understanding the symbols next to each consumable. The lung symbol is stamina recovery. The little kettlebell symbol is increased carry weight, found on drugs like cocaine, Hercules, and caffeine. And although caffeine also has weight carried increase, it doesn't have the little kettlebell symbol. The blood drop is blood control. The radiation without the shield is removing radiation you already have. The radiation with the shield creates a radiation resistance. This symbol is psychic resistance. The white heart, as we said earlier, is the post heal. The chemical symbol increases chemical resistance. As you can see, this one also creates radiation resistance, but it doesn't have the radiation symbol because it's a chemical resistance focused consumable. The tank top or shirt or whatever the fuck this is increasing the damage resistance of the character. The fork and spoon for some reason and not knife next to food items is obviously food. It reduces hunger. The water drop reduces thirst. It makes the sense. And the briefcase is basically a bundle. As you can see, if you read the contents, you can see that this item holds various items inside it. It means it's a package. You can also sometimes see it on packages that you have to deliver in quests. Now, some symbols have an arrow above them, some symbols have two arrows above them. This just means that it's stronger than a regular one without a symbol, and this one means that it's stronger than the one with one symbol. Now, moving over from symbols to a more in-depth look of what consumables do, we're gonna hover over these cigarettes, for example. And we're gonna look at the properties section, and you're gonna see a blue property, some green properties, some red properties, and an orange one. Blue property always says the category of the item. So cigarettes fall under stimulant. For example, the Ukrainian beer is drink and alcohol. The water is only a drink. The green properties are buffs, the first one being alcohol sobering effect, and the second one being slight sleepiness reduction. You can already see that the sleep reduction is plus 1%. But what is alcohol sobering effect? Well, that basically means that if you drink some alcohol and you start getting all woozy, you can smoke a cigarette and it's gonna make you less drunk after smoking the cigarette. And the red properties are debuffs. Slight thirstiness increase means you're gonna get more thirsty, and unhealthy means that you're basically using the item, you're losing overall health. Watch me smoke away a whole 1% of my overall health. The orange property varies between items. This one says it requires a matchbox to light the cigarette. For the vodka, it says that the repair bonus is plus 3%, which means if you fix something, you can use the vodka on that thing and make it plus 3% better. Now, knowing the in-depth properties of consumables can help you very much, because for example, if I post heal with Yadulin, I'm gonna get extremely dizzy, and this will hinder my progress for a while, because this is just horrible. But that's why I always keep some caffeine tablets which say they remove dizziness, and then I become more focused. Now, the reason I'm still dizzy is because the Yadulin says it causes severe dizziness, and the caffeine tablets only have dizziness removal. As like, for example, Hercules has mild dizziness removal. Some items like the large glucose shot are potent dizziness removals. Basically meaning that if I take another Yadulin and I get super duper dizzy, I can just do the glucose shot and I'm not dizzy anymore. Because potent dizziness removal works counteractively to severe dizziness. And this is why it's important to always read the properties of the item. Some special items like the rebirth and the antibiotics don't really say what they do in the properties all that good. Basically, you can read the description. The antibiotics help you survive emissions outside of cover. They basically make you lose consciousness and you will survive the emission outside unconscious. The rebirth does show in the properties that it's gonna super heal you, but it doesn't mention that it's gonna make you lose consciousness, which is specifically said in the description of the item. Briefly going over status effect HUD symbol, we have hunger, thirst, sleepiness, and carrying too much weight. They range in color from white being the mildest negative effect to yellow, then orange, all the way to the red color being the most severe status. The cross symbol means you're regaining health over time. The radiation symbol without the shield means you're being cured from radiation poisoning. The dumbbell symbol means you can carry more weight. The lightning means you gain more stamina. And all the symbols with the shields are resistance buffs. Radiation symbol means radiation. The brain means psychic resistance, chemical resistance, and physical damage resistance. Now you cannot mention consumables without mentioning cooking. Cooking is basically the process of taking mutant meats and creating them into a more edible version. I do not recommend you eating raw meat. It has a lot of radiation contamination in it, and you're gonna be a full radiation bar before you even notice it. In order to cook, you need a cooking station of any kind. The most basic one is the field cooking kit, and it requires charcoal as fuel, meaning you can only use it next to a burning fire. The other ones we have are gas stove and a large stove you can place in your hideout. These two use only liquid fuels. Well, and gas too, because that's propane. And these are very heavy to carry. So I usually just craft all the food I need with my stove in my hideout. Let me show you how. Now coming over to our indoors lit fireplace, we're gonna go into the inventory and right click the kit, and then you can see we can craft our bloodsucker meat and just press cook, and you see the usable fuel is charcoal. The thing about the field cooking kit being the most basic one is that you cannot craft the better upgraded versions of the bloodsucker food. The zone produced still gives you radiation when you consume it, just not as much as eating the meat raw. The other two versions we have are stewed, meaning you need water, which lowers the radiation contamination even further and increases the amount of satiety you get. The best version of any cooked mutant meat is the purified version. The purified version of any mutant meat not only does not give you radiation and gives you the max at 80, it also gives you buffs, which is insane. But to craft purified mutant meats, you need to either use your gas stove, which is portable, and have kerosene along with you, or just go to your friendly stove in your hideout, access the stash, put in some fuel, and just use the stove as you wish. Now right now, I don't have any meats on me, but you can see I can craft it. If I just go to my fridge, which is where you should keep your meat, otherwise they will spoil over time, and yoink out, let's say, whatever the fuck this is, pseudo dog meat. Go to our stove, and now you can see that I can craft pseudo dog chops, which are purified, and they require vodka. Now most of the time, purified meats of mutants require double the meat from the regular one. For example, boar, the regular one is 1 meat, the purified version is 2 meats and a vodka. The pseudo dog one isn't the case, and you can see that it increases the carry weight by 6.1 kilograms and even gives you psychic resistance for 4,000 seconds, which is a long ass time. It's a good thing to notice that the mutant foods also give insane amount of satiety. They are the best foods to eat if you're hungry. So what I suggest is basically before going out, just cook yourself a whole bunch of yummy food that gives you buff. The purified, don't waste your meats on the stew, and don't waste your meats on the other one, which they just give you rad contamination. And I mean, the hunger negation is good, but it's not as good as having no radiation contamination and a buff, and even a higher hunger negation. You just craft a bunch of these and go out to the wilds, and you'll be ready for any encounter eating from a tin can with a weird ass fork. This was it for today's episode, everybody. I hope that now, after we've been through health system, we've been through status effects, all those things, we've been through all the consumables and how they work, I hope that now everybody is much more confident, much more understanding of how Stalker Gamma operates, and most importantly, less confused about all that shit that's going on in the consumables menu. And I wish y'all a great whatever time you're having.